Good morning to all of our panelists. Thank you very much for joining the sessions today. To kick off the panel discussion, please allow me to invite the Director of Finance PLN, Ibu Sinthya Roesly. She will be sharing unlocking innovative financing schemes to provide clean and affordable energy for all. So, Ibu Sinthya, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Bu Maya. Good morning, everyone. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Probably a bit of a presentation to start the context so that we can discuss more in detail for, according to the theme, crowding investment to accelerate Indonesia's energy transitions. Slide, please. So for those of you who has not been familiar with Indonesia, so this is just a corporate profile. So we have around 70 gigawatts installed capacity, which is in operations in the country. We have 87 million customers serving 279 million people of the Republic of Indonesia, and we have around 29+ billion US dollars in revenue. Next. So this is basically probably people have already acknowledged that we have what we call it the accelerated renewable energy development. So we have calculated the amount of investment that we need in terms of the gigawatts as well as the money amounts which should be provided through PLN or through IPP or private projects. So the amount of investment amounts to 157 billion US dollars. So this is the challenge on how we should mobilize private capital to finance PLN project, either it's EPC or in terms of IPP like projects. And just to let everyone know that we have been basically assisted by ADB and some other multilaterals to develop our financing platform internally. And up to now, we have basically has recent sustainable financing in terms of green loan, RBL, term loan facilities from various multilateral, which amount to 3.3 billion US dollars. So in terms of multilateral, we have no issues. It's already done. It's already in progress. So the help is very obvious. But we need to have a challenge now on the right-hand side. But at least we have already 44.9 or almost 45 billion US dollars in the list. We just need to push this forward and how to mobilize those financing in a later stage. We basically have already had the scenario, the plan, the projects list. Then we need to work on how to mobilize the financing in terms of executing it into the financing agreements. Next. So in PLN itself, so anticipating for the financing from the private sectors as well as multilateral, of course, internally we have developed our internal institutional capacity and we strengthen our ESG governance, understanding that we have a challenge with the coal plant dominant produced by within PLN system. So of course we need to have a more systematic and structured way of managing our ESG issues and ESG governance. So it's basically have been installed in the company, and we have as much as a dashboard, monitoring system, divisions, specific divisions. We have a war room for this sustainability. So those are the internal institutional capacity that we are now building just to anticipate the energy transitions financing down the road. And of course, we on the financing preparations, we have started to develop our framework. And recently, with the country platform, the PT SMI, we are now about to form a joint secretariat for pushing the executions of the energy transition projects. So this is going to be the key milestone for us to push forward the projects to be financed and preparing pipelines that is bankable enough to be financed by the private sectors. Next. So these are some of the initiatives within PLN, and we have a cadence, we have initiatives, sub-initiatives, and we have the strong PIC for that. Next, just go through. This is just an example on how we are doing it, monitoring it, every aspect and every metrics of the ESG that we are focusing on, just to ensure that we have, show that we are internally we have a commitment from top to the operational level within the organizations. Next. This is basically the financing, funding privatization. So of course from public finance and the private finance. Then today I think the focus is from private finance. Next. So I think these are some of the basic combinations of the financing source from the public, of course, including various types of instruments, up to the guarantees products, private investment, blended finance, philanthropy, and recently we are now pushing also carbon finance. Next. So these are how the Indonesian institutional arrangement with regard to the financing, the lenders, the financing intermediaries, the borrowers, and then also investment focus areas with regard to the things that we are doing on early retirements, on the variable renewable energy accelerations, as well as the just transition components. So these are the areas that we are focusing on, and then we are, of course, needs to push forward on the prioritization approach for the public project as well as the private finance projects. Next. So I think this is the last slide. So what we need from international parties for supporting PLN or Indonesia energy transition, so of course, number one is debottlenecking, limitations on green financing or energy transition financing, whether it's coming from financial services authority or regulators in the financial sectors, or from industry, or even from the internal regulation within the financiers, be the commercial banks or some other institutions or investors. Of course, we need to have intensive engagement between Indonesia's energy transition ecosystem, PT SMI, PLN, and some other key stakeholders, ministries, MSOE, MEMR, Ministry of Finance. As we mentioned, that we are now pushing for the joint office to accelerate the executions of the projects, and through this joint office with the country platform, support, we will have more engaged communications with the private investors, be commercial banks or investors. Then this is just to show that how we have a strong commitment and deliberations to push forward the Indonesian energy transition journey. Of course, part of that are technical assistance for project preparations, project structuring for ensuring the bankability for the PLN energy transition projects. And in the short run, we need, of course, financing support. We have a JETP commitment. We have already the SIP, Comprehensive Investment Plan and Policy. But we need to do now is ensuring the framework for disbursement and framework for making this as a workable platform is something that we need to push forward. So I think these are the context for Indonesia energy transition financing that we are needed now. Thank you very much. Back to Bu Maya.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ibu Sinthya. So, Bu Sinthya mentioned about how financing schemes are very important, and innovative financing beyond business as usual should be pushed forward. Before I invite the third panelist, please allow me to welcome Pak Darmawan Prasojo and Pak Febrio Kacaribu for joining the session. And I would like to invite Pak Darmo to give your short remarks for this session. Pak Darmo, the stage is yours, Pak. Thank you.
Good afternoon, beautiful afternoon today. I would like to thank you, Pak Febrio Kacaribu, for making this event possible. Also the Deputy of Coordinating Maritime Investment, Pak Rahmat Kaimuddin, distinguished speakers, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I always emphasize that the journey of humankind is facing a very serious threat. The earth is warming and we need to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. So now is how we're going to walk the talk. And here, we've been doing so much, but it's always not enough. So this COP28 is giving us much deeper understanding. First, the good news is the global communities to this forum to become unified, to have the common understanding, giving us a sense of pride, conviction, that no matter the challenge ahead, we're going to be able to keep moving forward. But this kind of event is also giving us a sense of humility that the more we work on it, we understand that this is going to become to be a fierce, complex, long, grueling battle. And the long battle has just begun. With this kind of a challenge, we've been building so many scenarios. Business as usual, the gas-led, scenarios, and then also the accelerated renewable energy development, the ultra-accelerated renewable energy development with coal phase out, with coal phase down, and every single scenarios. And Pak Febrio, we had so many meetings to discuss about this. And technical challenge, mismatch between the location of renewable energy and the epicentrum of demand, no transition without any transmission. We need to design and build green enabling transmission line. Price tag is more than 20 billion US dollars. Rate of return is very low. It's a high risk project. And then we also have to manage the intermittency of the variable renewable energy, solar and wind. We need to design and build the smart grid, another price tag of 5 billion US dollars. Those two green enabling transmission lines and also the smart grid, technically feasible but commercial viability has to be addressed in such a way government has to interfere in such a way that this is going to be possible. But on the generation side, we are able to come up with a project that is not only technically feasible, but also commercially viable, in which each time we do an auctions, the competition is very healthy. In that regard, there is what we call the country platform, in which we actually shifting from fragmented stakeholders of domestic to become unified. We also have the comprehensive investment policy planning, in which we going to have the list of projects. We're going to consolidate the flow of capital, solicited, non-solicited, private bank, multilateral bank, philanthropy, private investors, in such a way the global communities that previously fragmented to become unified, and the flow of investment is going to really works very well. And for today, for PLN, we are already shifting from conventional financing to embrace the green financing, sustainable financing. And in it, we have to have the what we call the green financing management, that monitoring how the dispersal of fund is going to be monitored closely in such a way is going to increase the accountability. In such so today, how the crowding in investment is going to accelerate Indonesia energy transition is a forum that is so important. Why? Because we need to collaborate. That's the only way to move forward. Thank you so much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much Pak Darmawan Prasojo for the remarks.